Hello, everyone, and Merry Christmas. Welcome to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Rain Whalen.
And I'm Burgermeister Meisterburger.
Oh. That's going to be fun for future Rain to edit.
It's on it's probably in the credits on, Santa Claus is coming to town. I mean, that's, you'll be able to find.
Oh my God. That is so good.
It's a Christmas episode,
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. This is our second annual Christmas episode that Jeremy picked out. Well, more so wanted to do. He didn't pick it out, but I was quite shocked when you told me that you wanted to do a Christmas episode.
Yeah. I don't know if this is our third one we've done, like, total. Because we've done the Santa Claus, for sure.
That's true. No, yeah, this is third. This is the third one.
We've done The Man Who Invented Christmas.
Yeah.
Not very successful.
Yeah, let's look at the views on that one here. Let's
I bet you it's low. I mean,
okay, yeah, let's go.
Man, the movie's trash. I mean, it's fine.
Okay, so let's see. Season 7 had the Santa Claus because that was our season of strange movies.
Okay.
So let's see.
Not super strange. We could have gone way weirder.
Oh no.
Christmas episodes.
No. My bad. Was it season 6?
I don't know.
Yeah, season 6 was the season of strange movies. Season 6.
Okay.
So the Santa Claus only had 12 views.
That makes sense.
Then in season 7, I don't think we did a Christmas. Oh, yes, we did. Yeah. Then we did, The Man Who Invented Christmas. That has 19 views, so did a little bit better than the Santa Claus.
A little bit.
And then, of course, season 8 was started at the beginning of this year, so we did not do one. So this is our third Christmas episode.
Cool.
But yeah, point being, I thought after I forced a Christmas episode in season 7 that you were done.
Yeah, no, I mean, because there are some like this one that they're Christmas episodes, but they're not. So I mean, it's they're up for debate, I guess, whether or not they qualify as Christmas episodes or Christmas movies. Like there was a couple to choose from. Could have done Black Christmas or which would have been fun. Could have done Lethal Weapon. Could have done Iron Man 3.
Oh yeah.
Both written by the gentleman who wrote and directed this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just I could have done Die Hard. That would have been the easy choice.
Oh man, I think Die Hard would have gotten us more views since that movie's so divided on if it's a Christmas movie or not. And apparently, even before Bruce Willis retired, he even said it's not a Christmas movie. So
agree to disagree, Brucey.
Bruce, if you're listening, because we know you're nonverbal, but we love you.
God.
Well, he can't speak, but he can listen.
Understood.
Or watch, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that we love Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Jeez Louise. All right, so today it's our special Christmas episode. We are discussing Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I was just about to say if you'd like to introduce it, since this was your pick. Well, your choice. And I'd like to point out that my wife and I had a very heated discussion on why we were doing this movie. She was like, that's not a Christmas movie. And as we were just discussing, I firmly believe it is because one, Shane Black puts most of his movies during Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
2, Christmas is a big component of this movie, and is not just like a oh, it's happening at Christmas. Like there's several things going on for the characters to bring up that it's Christmas.
Yep.
And 3, like Michelle Monaghan,
Sure.
she's in a sexy Santa outfit at one point. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is a Christmas
This is
movie.
a Christmas movie
So
for sure. Yeah, I agree
yeah.
completely. I mean, there shouldn't be any debate that this is a Christmas movie because it takes place during Christmas. I mean, yes, it's a fun quasi buddy cop, neo noir,
Neo-noir.
dark comedy, but it's still a Christmas movie, you know. So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
So, buddy, I haven't asked you this in a while. Do you remember the first time you ever saw this movie?
no, I don't.
Uh,
I'm sure it was on DVD. I'm sure I may have rented it like at Hollywood Video, or it may have even been as recently as like I found it somewhere online, but I doubt that. It's been a long time since even the last time I saw it. It's been a long time. So I don't.
I distinctly don't remember the first time I saw it. I remember when I did see it. It was after RDJ exploded with Iron Man.
Yeah, it was after Iron
became
Man for
back
sure is
in.
when I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Mom watching it. I think before Iron Man had come out.
Okay.
But since it was rated R, Mom wouldn't let me watch rated R movies.
Oh.
So yeah, I didn't see it till later.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But honestly, man, this movie, like I was reading some of the trivia on IMDb last night, and Robert Downey Jr. said that if it wasn't for this movie, he doesn't think he would have gotten Iron Man.
I guarantee he wouldn't have gotten Iron Man. I read that it was Jon Favreau who saw the movie, saw Robert Downey Jr. can do action, and then offered him Iron Man. I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? I think without him being in this film, yeah, we wouldn't have RDJ as Iron Man. So,
yeah. And for those of you who don't know, because we're probably not going to touch on it that much, RDJ was not in a good place in his career during this time. He had been busted multiple times for drugs and alcohol and been arrested, and Hollywood was seeing him as a bit of a problem actor. He thankfully cleaned up his act, but he wasn't getting many jobs, and thankfully Shane Black decided to cast him in this role, and as Jeremy just said, if it had not been for this, he wouldn't have gotten Iron Man and wouldn't have the now amazing career. We wouldn't have had him in Oppenheimer.
well, I was going to say Dr. Dolittle, but you're right. Oppenheimer is probably the better choice. Yeah.
I refuse to watch that movie. I choose to believe that once he finished up with Endgame, he took just a brief break and did Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Because I don't want to taint.
You're just living in your own
his career. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Anyway, so Jeremy, since this was your choice, would you like to tell everyone a little bit about this movie?
Sure. Robert Downey Jr. Plays Harry Lockhart. He is sort of a gentleman bandit, burglarizing different establishments. And on one occasion, he and his partner are robbing a toy store, and they get caught. While running from the cops, his partner gets shot, and he gets winged a little bit, but he ends up accidentally running into a casting call for, of all things, a part for a robbery gone wrong. He, of course, falls into the role ass backwards, and now he finds himself in Hollywood, screen testing and preparing for this role. The studio has provided him with a private detective to do ride-alongs with, um, Perry, played beautifully by Val Kilmer. Um, as they are doing their ride-alongs, Perry is taking him on this case he's working on. It ends up getting a lot bigger than they expected, and they get thrusted into um, this huge case that gets them a little over their head. Meanwhile, um, Harry's long lost childhood crush resurfaces in his life, also in Los Angeles, as she is an actress, and she gets wrapped up in this case as well. Hijinks ensue, meta commentary is sprinkled throughout, and we get this fun Christmas themed buddy cop ish black comedy, and it's amazing. So,
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I remember, I will say, before we jump off, I do remember the first time I did experience this movie. I wanted to read the book, but then I was like, you know what? No, the movie's great.
yeah.
I'm too worried that if I read the book, I'll be too busy trying to compare it to the movie. So I'm just gonna let this live the way it is and only have seen the movie. Because yeah, the movie
Well, the
so
book
good,
is
dude.
old. Um,
Really?
the book is old. Let me tell you. Okay, so Brett Holiday, Hallday, not Holiday with an O. But anyway, Brett Holiday was born in 1904 and died in 1977. Um,
Oh,
Other film adaptations of his work include Just Off Broadway, 1942, and Blonde for a Day, 1946. The book would have been old,
ha.
that you've read. So, and it wouldn't have been. It's kind of like how 10 Things I Hate About You was Shakespeare, you know? Uh,
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah,
That's
so it's
right.
like modernizing this story. Yeah.
You mean not like what Boz Lerman did with Romeo and Juliet?
Not what Boz Lerman does with anything. Uh,
Okay, buddy. Where would you like to start with
well, first,
with
I would like to
with this one?
establish that we are both wearing sweaters because it's hot. And I'm taking it. Oh, wore it for the Christmas episode, but it's too hot. So, okay. We can start with. Huh. How about just the presentation of the story as a whole? Okay.
Hmm.
Because I love the meta narration. I love that
Yes.
Harry is telling us this story, being fully aware we're watching a movie, right?
Hmm.
It's sort of like,
Almost very. Oh, I was just say very reminiscent of Sunset Boulevard.
yeah, yeah. It's taken
Shout out to
shots.
our Sunset Boulevard episode.
Yes, go check that out. I think we did all right. I don't really remember, but um, however, it's like taking shots at Hollywood and the industry while we go along this, this whodunit and this mystery.
Yeah.
Um, there there are moments uh, that are just hilarious, like with him, stopping himself, interrupting himself, being like, "Wait, nope, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. I need to go back. I didn't explain it right," or I forgot to mention
Yeah.
that, or God, don't you just hate this line of exposition here? Like, ooh, gee, I wonder if this is going to come back later. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, let's move on. And I love that stuff, and I think it
Yeah.
adds so much to this movie, which without it, I think, um, one, it would be way less fun without this commentary, but also I don't know, it adds an extra layer of satire and um, of sort of this tongue in cheek sort of way of telling a story that takes place in Hollywood, right?
Yeah. And well, and and what's funny about the narration is I think Shane Black used that from this for Iron Man 3,
Yeah,
because that movie is
you're right.
mostly narrated.
Yeah.
Of course, not as meta,
No.
because it's revealed that Tony is telling all this to Bruce Banner. But yeah, I think Shane just really likes to hear Robert narrate, which is fine.
Yeah.
I agree. I think without this narration, yes, I think the movie would still be fun, but I don't think it would be as fun.
Mhm. Definitely.
Especially because most of the gags wouldn't work without it, like
Yeah.
the film reel kind of stopping,
Yeah.
and then yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, you know what else it kind of reminded me of a little bit,
Hmm.
and hopefully you won't be mad at me. Emperor's New Groove, when he narrates and then he writes on the frame like the story's about me, not him.
No,
Okay,
you're
just wanted to
exactly
clear that
right.
up.
It is very much so. Like, okay, so what I'm hearing is like Shane Black saw Emperor's New Groove and was like, "That's it. That's the
Like that's it. That's it right there. What David Spade just did. That's what we need to do.
that's the template I'm going to use for this movie I'm writing." Yeah. Um,
Dude, I would love if that were the case. I think that would be awesome. That because I mean, Emperor's New Groove is awesome. Definitely one of the few standout. Like
I
anyway,
agree 100%.
uh, yeah. But anyway, yeah. I love this kind of narration. Like I love when he yells at the extras, like,
Mhm.
"Oh, let's just put these extras right in front of the big sign. Hey, move!" And they're like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah. And well,
Uh,
all right. So with the narration, which is great, I think the main core of what makes this film so much fun to watch is Val Kilmer and RDJ together, right? Um,
mm-hmm.
of course, we know Shane Black is good with buddy comedies. We have Lethal Weapon as a wonderful example of this, um, which
Did
is
he write
like,
that?
yes, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I know. Um, so with Lethal Weapon, we can see where he's taking that and sort of expanding on it and tweaking the dynamics a little, and but still keeping the core of like what makes it so much fun to watch opposites interact and have to work with each other to try to solve a problem, right?
mm-hmm.
Later he will, in my opinion, perfect this with The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys. Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
The Nice Guys
Uh,
is my favorite Shane Black movie, full stop.
Agreed. Definitely, and for sure, a future episode.
Sure.
Um, because he also took a lot of the mystery and the who has done this. Um, Shout out
Yeah.
to Andre, R.I.P. We miss Captain Holt.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think not only getting to write and this be his directorial debut, I
Yeah.
agree that he was able to take all these things and perfect it for the Nice Guys. But
Yeah.
yeah, the chemistry between Val and RDJ was it's pure gold. Like even when it's not really like a funny scene, like when uh they think Harmony's dead, and Perry's trying to console Harry in his own way, but then he's just all like, "Hey, I gotta go." Like, "Hey, I have to go now." And then finally, just pushing his head off of his car and driving away.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah. I mean,
so good.
again, any time that they're together is just pure magic. There's that scene, probably my favorite of them together is when they're at, I believe it's the hospital. That orderly shows up, right, and threatens him with a gun, right,
Yeah.
and Perry smarts off, but he hits Harry and he hits Harry, and Harry's like, "Dude, I didn't even say it, bro." And then, like a few minutes
Yeah.
later, when they disarm him, Harry hits him. And he goes, "Oh, that sucks. I just hit you for no reason." Right? If get back at him, it's so funny. That really makes me giggle. And again, we get little things that he's doing in this film, like the way Harry gets hurt throughout the movie. Um, it's usually with him just like either like it's a pure accident, like him getting his finger chopped off, which is hilarious. Um,
Yeah,
there's, I mean, I'm gonna make a lot of comparisons here, so like we'll have to wait a while before we do the Nice Guys. But um, there's that scene
that's fine.
where Gosling is wrapping up his hand to prepare to knock the window out, and he slices his wrist open. You know,
Oh yeah, and he's just like, oh.
and he has to go
Yeah,
to the hospital. He almost dies on the way to the hospital. It's stuff like that that you could see where you could tell Shane Black is like working with these ideas, and like it's funny that people are getting like for real hurt
yeah,
doing like just being these fumbling um would be heroes, you know. It's so
yeah,
funny.
yeah, and well, and it also kind of, for Harry, it ramps up. Like we get a little bit of that, at the beginning. He gets clipped by the bullet.
Yeah.
Nothing too serious. He gets his ass kicked at the party. Gets his finger chopped off. Um, gets his testicles electrocuted.
Yeah.
And then officially gets shot. Like it
So
just ramps up.
that there's nothing better than that delivery and that sort of the subverting your expectation of, oh, they're going to do this corny thing where the book that they both love or the book that she loves or whatever stopped the bullet, and then it
But
didn't.
it goes through the book.
He goes, oh wait, no.
Oh, well, no. And then like kind of slumps over. Yeah, yeah, man. The movie really balances comedy and the seriousness so well,
Mhm.
and because I love, and again, I agree, we're gonna have to wait on the Nice Guys, but just like with the Nice Guys, that movie also balances comedy with the seriousness
Yeah.
so well. Like and I think, and we've already been saying it, but I think it goes back to with this movie is the casting. RDJ and Val, they're so good. And then you got Michelle. Is it Monaghan?
Dude, I don't know.
I've never been able to know how to pronounce her name. I'm
No.
just gonna call her Michelle.
Okay.
So,
Well, her
but
name is
she's
Harmony.
fantastic in it.
Her name is Harmony in the movie,
Well,
so you
yeah,
can do that. Yeah.
Harmony. Yeah,
But no,
but
she's
the three of them together. Yeah, three of them together, and then of course you have the villain, Corbin Benson.
Yeah.
Which I think is, you want to talk about subverting expectations, but also kind of, if you look at it in the lens of Rian Johnson of like Knives Out,
Mhm.
one of the more famous guys in the movie, he's the bad guy. Knives Out, it was Chris Evans.
Spoilers for Knives Out,
because
everybody. We might have to bleep
oh my
you.
god, spoilers. Well, I'm definitely not going to spoil Glass Onion because that one's newer.
Sure.
But yeah, but I just love Corbin Benson so much, and I forgot he was in the movie.
Yeah, I did too.
Until he kind of pops into frame after Harry gets his ass kicked. And I was like, oh, that's right, Corbin Benson, because I knew the bad guy was one of the famous people, but I was like, who was it again? And then as soon as he popped into frame, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, it was Corbin Benson.
Fun fact, that's Shane Black's mansion that they're filming that party in.
Really?
Yeah, apparently he is, or at the time anyway, he was well known for throwing these large Christmas parties where the who's who and the up and comers of Hollywood go and hang out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It must be all that money he made when he was in Predator, all the years ago.
It's all the Predator money just rolling in. That's what it is.
I mean, that's why he got the opportunity to direct his own Predator movie, and then didn't do so well.
Oof. Right.
But But that's interesting. Well, and of course that's free. You know, they didn't have to pay for anything. You just be like, oh, we'll just film it there. It's fine.
Sure. I mean, why not?
Um, okay, so I want to talk about the other thing about the movie, um, which is the mystery element.
Mhm.
Because yeah, this is a whodunit, which uh, I think this was sort of like the start. I think for the modern day whodunit,
You
as
think?
in, of course, later on, as I already mentioned. I think because I distinctly don't remember whodunits in the 90s or 2000s. You
Hmm.
know, the last one I really kind of remember was Clue, and that was like at the tail end of the 80s or mid 80s. Uh,
I don't know,
but
man.
then,
I
you
might
know,
have to. I don't have concrete examples for you right now, but I'm gonna have
neither
to
do I.
disagree. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that because I feel like
Okay.
whodunits or who has done this is um are are just staples in Hollywood filmmaking. I think that there's. I mean, again, I don't have a strong example for you. I think maybe before this, I guess maybe I do. A good modern example post Clue, but pre Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Um, the one that came to mind, and it's not really a whodunit, but it is a all out mystery thriller, is The Game. So I mean, like you can't
Oh,
deny The
yeah,
Game,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna have Future Rain fact check that because
That's fine.
not you, just what I said. Just because I feel like that would be too much work.
Sure.
Um, but anyway, the mystery element.
Yeah.
I think the mystery element to this movie is so interesting because we have the case that we're introduced to
Mhm.
with Perry, that he was hired by this woman to go up to this cabin and film something. He doesn't know what. She just asked him to film.
Mhm.
And then we get the reveal that the that Corbin Benson's daughter has been murdered. And we're like, okay, that's kind of weird. Uh, and then we get this inclusion of Harmony, that her sister committed suicide or may have been murdered. And so now we're like, okay, how does all these puzzle pieces fit together?
Mhm.
And I just love how the movie naturally has the characters solve it. You know, it's not spoon fed to them and it's not spoon fed to the audience, that we're all together
Yeah,
trying to piece together this mystery.
I agree.
And I love that even when they have about 90% of it solved, like when they're at the mental hospital, you know, they think that Harmony's sister was the look-alike. And then at the very end of the movie, they finally solve the whole thing, that Harmony's sister hired Perry. And yeah, because I don't want to spoil it all just yet. I want to talk about it. But
Sure.
I just love how Shane crafted the mystery. Because
It
again, it's
does
not spoon fed.
yeah. It does unfold itself like a classic 40s noir. I will say that. It in
Yeah.
again it comes from that the source material, so that helps. Um which I didn't really do a lot of research on the original source material. Maybe I should have. I don't know. But it does work its way through a mystery like those old noirs, right? Um,
Mhm.
but uh, yeah, and you are sort of along for the ride. Shane Black, um, sorry, Shane Black did some research that people start to kind of lose their attention span in a film around 28 minutes. And so he would have something crazy
Mm.
happen around that time throughout the movie. So it's like, okay, you can stop paying attention. Here's this crazy thing. Okay, now we're going to go back to you paying attention. Is that okay? you know, and to keep your attention throughout the film, which I like. Like it
Yeah.
can be difficult in a movie like this to sort of have to give you a lot of information that you have to be fully paying attention for without too much excitement happening in between. So the fact that he was aware of that and could and had the like the foresight, that's not a word, to have the um uh they had the idea to sprinkle in things every so often to keep people entertained.
Well, and and to be honest, I never really caught that I felt like he was kind of being like, "Hey, this crazy thing."
Yeah.
Um I mean, a lot of crazy things happen in the movie. Like how the ringer, the girl that Corbin Benson brought in to pretend to be his daughter,
Mhm.
ends up getting killed, and she just happens to steal a car that Harry's passed out in
Yeah.
from blood loss from his finger.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, but that's interesting. That's a really interesting thing because I never caught it. I was just
Mhm.
like, oh, that's kind of
I don't
that's
think you're
funny that
supposed
all
to.
these.
I don't think you're supposed to be aware of it. The fact that you were
That's true.
entertained throughout lets you know that he was successful. So,
That's true. That's
yeah.
true. Um, but yeah, man, but I love how this mystery is crafted and how
Mhm.
you know the only thing that I've always struggled with the many times I've seen this movie is and I'm gonna quote Perry that they gave her back. So
Yeah.
Perry and Harry witness Veronica's murder. They find her in the trunk of this car. Um, and then later on, after Perry takes Harry back to his hotel room, um, we learn that Harmony hasn't killed herself, but then Veronica's body is in Harry's hotel room. So
Yeah.
like that's the only part that I'm like, but how they kind of left her.
Hmm. Yeah.
I know, I know they left her body, but like, when in the time did they the killers get her body and get it to Harry's hotel room?
I don't know. I can tell you. Don't know.
Um, that's the only question I have because I mean everything from there is pretty easy to follow. But I was just like,
Yeah.
I was like, but how? I think Harry goes out after Perry drops him off because he's in different clothes when he finds out that Harmony's still alive. Uh, so
Yeah.
I think after he gets the call that he thinks Harmony killed herself, I'm assuming I'm gonna just play devil's advocate for a second. He goes up to his hotel room, changes clothes, goes out, and then while he's out, they sneak up there, plant the gun, plant the body, and then there we go.
Sure.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, your guess is as good as mine, and I don't have any. So I guess I don't
I
have to.
just I just love again going back to the chemistry of when he tells Perry that he peed on it.
Yeah.
Eh, so for context, if you're listening or watching this and you haven't seen the movie, Harry's already peeing and he happens to look over his shoulder, see Veronica's dead body, turns midstream and accidentally pees on this corpse. And when he tells Perry that, I just love that Perry's like, no, answer my question. What do you mean you pissed on the corpse? Uh, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Um,
And of course, I mean, same would have done the same thing. I bet you. Yeah.
yeah,
Honestly, I would. I mean, just saying, it would have freaked me out too. All right, seeing a body in
that
my bathroom.
midstream just would have been like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So that was super relatable to me, anyway.
well, well, well. Speaking of relatable, it's a good segue. I really I really enjoyed the, maybe this isn't the right word, but the quasi realism of the movie.
Hmm.
You know, like when Harry shoots that guy after he kills the ringer.
Hmm.
You know, in other movies, like when someone kills someone for the first time, they're just kind of like, well, I killed someone, and they move on.
Yeah.
I I like that it kind of sinks in for Harry,
Yeah.
like, oh, I just killed someone. Um,
Well,
and
he does
I
this
think it
thing
makes it
where
even better than,
when he pulls the trigger, he kind of covers his face a little bit, like he kind of looks away, and he, like he
Mhm.
doesn't want to see himself do it, right? Um,
Yeah,
but then of course he gets a little bit more
but
comfortable when he keeps shooting him, of course. But that first one, he covers his
yeah,
face, or he looks away, which I like. I like
yeah,
that detail.
and he was smart enough to pull his sleeve up and wipe the handle down and the gun down and stick it in the girl's hand to make it look like they kind of had a shootout.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I like that we get a lot of that throughout the movie. Of when I say quasi realism, I'm saying there are some things that our belief is suspended or disbelief is suspended, like when he catches Veronica's hand dangling out of her coffin.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Catches the gun
But
and then
I do.
shoots Corbin Benson, and then shoots the guys in the
Uh,
car. Like, that's ridiculous.
yeah,
It
it
was
just
fun.
happens to. Yeah, it's fun, and,
It's
and
fun to
just, yeah,
watch.
it happens to
Yeah.
fall on top of the car. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but no, but I do like there are these times where it lives in the real world.
Hmm.
You know, like like when he gets threatened and they pop his stitches on his finger.
Yeah.
Because yeah, sure, like, yeah, he's got his finger put back on, and yeah, he's got it bandaged up, but that doesn't mean it's impervious.
Yeah.
And so they pop the stitches. um I'm trying to think of, oh, and then of course, another good bit of realism that I really enjoyed is, the scene where he gets his ass kicked at the party. He's being this really good, suave gentleman. You're like, hey, like, if you're her doctor, I suggest you walk away. Don't even think about it. Like, yeah, you'll try to kick my ass, but that'll fail. And then we cut, and Harry immediately
Yeah.
loses that fight. And I feel like that's very, very realistic, just because,
It's
like, yeah,
it's so
like,
funny. It's a good beat, a comedy. Then
yeah,
doubled down with, "Hey, did you see that guy that was walking out with that girl? You mean the guy that kicked your ass?" Yeah, it's so funny because like everybody saw,
yeah, but yeah, and I don't know. I feel like that just adds to this neo noir so much more. Is this realism?
Hmm. I agree.
Um,
It's
uh,
using the realism in comedic ways, right? Again, it's like the cutting off
yeah,
of his finger, um, and there's other examples that I just blanked on, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
um, whatever. I don't know. I'm drunk. What do you? I'm not. It's just
I
water.
uh, I texted I texted I texted someone that I was like, ah, man, I'm wrecked. I was tired. And they're like, man, you're drinking at 11 a.m. Like, way to go. And I was like, no, I'm
Oh,
tired.
dude,
Not that
sleepy.
kind of wrecked.
That's funny.
Um, so okay, I now want to shift a little bit to just the character of Harry for a little
Okay,
bit,
sure.
because this was the first time I'd rewatched the movie in quite a while. And Harry, for all his faults, Harry is actually a good person.
Yeah,
He
I
may
mean,
be a
again, he's a
little,
gentleman bandit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's just a little dim-witted. Which I watched an interview with RDJ. It was while he was promoting Oppenheimer. He said it was so freeing to play this character who's kind of dumb. because he'd
Yeah.
been known for playing, as he put, fast talking smart guys, and Harry was a little he wasn't
Slow.
that smart. Yeah. And he was like, it was so freeing that I didn't have to be the smart guy. He was
Yeah.
like, I could rely on Val Kilmer to do that. Which is true. Like, my favorite part with Harry and how dumb he kind of is when he tries to do the Russian roulette and nails it on the first try.
Well,
And
there's a
and
good
is
piece
like,
of
well,
realism being thrown in for comedy, right? Because like, of course, like if you
yeah,
throw a live round in there, there's a good chance it's going to go off. 8%.
yeah, yeah. What do you mean 8%? Well, I meant to fact check his math because I was curious, but
Wrong.
I
The
didn't have
math is
time.
wrong.
Um, and I just love how he's like, Perry's on the phone with Harmony, and he's still like, because 4 times 3 is 12. It's 8%. Stop multiplying. No, not you. Um, but yeah, Harry is. It's just I enjoy seeing that as this character who is genuinely a good person, but kind of dumb,
Mhm.
or at least not necessarily dumb. He's just kind of
He's out of his element for sure. I
dumb.
think
Yeah,
he
yeah,
fell ass backwards into this acting gig, which he's not going to get, right? But then he also like
yeah. Colin
accidentally
Farrell
does other
wants too much
stuff.
money.
Yeah, he accidentally does other stuff. Like he happened to fall on top of the casket, which happened to have an arm sticking out, which he happened to be able to catch, right? It's just he gets lucky. It's like
Mm-hmm.
this also happens to Ryan Gosling in The Nice Guys. He just gets lucky sometimes, you know.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is basically just pre Nice Guys, or Nice Guys is basically a remake of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Either way, I'm
I
fine.
mean, it kind of is,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you have these two unlikely heroes becoming close friends.
yeah,
Um, but and then we have the character of Perry, which, as you said, Val Kilmer plays so beautifully. I love Val so much.
yeah.
Dad, if you're listening, he's not dead. He just had throat cancer.
Oh, your dad thought Val
My
Kilmer was dead.
Yeah, so like when my brother was in town, he had admitted to my father that he had never seen Top Gun. And so my dad was like, "Well, we got to watch Top Gun." And then Jordan was like, "Yeah, Dad told me the guy who played Iceman is dead now." I was like, "What?"
No.
I was like, "Val
Yes.
Kilmer." And he was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "No, he's not dead." He's like, "Well, Dad said he was dead." And I was like, "No, he had throat cancer. Thankfully, he had it all removed. He just can't talk now. Like, he's not dead."
Yeah, he has a tough time speaking right now.
Yeah, if anyone wants to see after this episode's over, hop on Amazon and watch Val.
Yeah, definitely. I saw
It'll
that. It was really good.
it will destroy you emotionally, but it's
It
also a
is
good
sad.
celebration of Val's career. But anyway, but yeah, Val. I love watching Val Kilmer act just because you can tell. I apologize if everyone can hear that. My dog's barking.
We can
Um, you can tell that Val is just having the most fun.
a blast.
Uh,
Well, thank
yeah,
God he had fun because you can't do that again. Um,
yeah.
the character of Gay Perry is will live and die with Val Kilmer in that specific moment in time.
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
Uh, I I just love, again, what RDJ said about him is that Perry is the smart one, and Perry has some of the best one-liners in the movie. One of my favorite, of course, being the look up the word idiot in the dictionary. What do you think you'll find there? And Harry trying to beat him to the punch, like, a picture of me. No, the definition of the word idiot, which you fucking are. And it's just, that's a Goosebumps walk away.
that's a that is a Goosebumps walk away. Yeah, Perry's obviously just so over. like having to babysit, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like he's wrapped up in this just as much, I guess, as Harry, but like Harry like knows what he's doing, and so he's having to
Yeah.
like hold Harry's hand and then try to walk him through all this. He's involved now, so he has to keep him involved, and it's so funny just to watch Perry just get so frustrated um and sort of have to, rescue Harry on multiple occasions, and um, it's just fun to watch. And Val Kilmer is electric, and he's just so much fun. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I love that, especially with Perry. Yes, I would say Perry is he's serious, but it's more of like a funny serious. But I love that we get to see Val really flex his acting chops with the final scene of the movie when he berates Harmony's dad for sexually assaulting her sister.
yeah.
And it literally gives me goosebumps because he's just so like that's why I love Val Kilmer so much, man.
Mhm.
He's just so good and berating this guy, calling him names and uh, Perry again, I know we've been saying it and we've been saying it a lot, but Perry, RDJ and Val Kilmer together, I don't think two actors were better picked for roles than those two
I
for
agree.
Harry and Perry.
Before they got casted, Val Kilmer had met Robert Downey Jr. at one of those parties. Um, uh,
Really?
Parties like that. It wasn't at Shane Black's party, but it was at like a party
Oh,
like
okay.
that. And
How serendipitous would that have been?
I know, right? But when Val Kilmer was handed the script, he immediately said yes because they told him, "Oh, Robert Downey Jr. just got cast in this. Are you interested?" He goes, "Yes." I'm not even going to read it because they had so much fun with one another and getting to meet one another and really hitting it off. And then they're like, "Of course, I'll work with him," And you can tell that they were
Yeah.
excited to work with each other. They liked each other, right? And that's why just the chemistry works. And
Yeah. And also,
yeah.
speaking of the documentary Val,
Mm,
I love that we had that little snippet from Robert Downey uh defending Val because when Val got kind of cast in this light of being a difficult actor, Robert said he's not difficult to work with. He's just passionate. That's the difference. And I would agree, especially considering in the context of Val, that's during the whole awful trying to make the Island of Dr. Moreau film with Marlon Brando, who
yeah,
was way off the reservation by that point in
dude.
his career.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
Brando's on a different planet for sure during that time.
um,
And honestly, like
but
I would say that you could argue that people would have said the same thing about Downey Jr. when filming
mhm,
Zodiac. You know, it's just Downey was used to filming movies a certain way, right? And so when you're like,
yeah,
"Hey man, the camera never stops. We don't have to change, cartridges anymore. We're here all day." You know, and you're like, "I'm sorry, I'm used to getting a break every 10 minutes. What are you talking about?"
yeah. Well, and one second, everyone. Speaking of Zodiac, him and Ruffalo did a variety actors on actors, and they
Mhm.
talked about that. So, so I don't think Robert. Uh, I know we said it. I think we said it during our Zodiac episode. Which shout out to our Zodiac episode. It's got our buddy Alex on it.
Yeah, he'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I don't think he didn't like working for David Fincher. And I'm pretty sure you said it. I just don't think he liked not stopping.
yeah. He didn't like just
Um,
they just kept going, because digital
uh,
lets you keep going.
well, and then they said, of course, I don't know how true it is, but they both said that the delete button was made. Fincher made the delete button, so that way he could be like, "Hey, delete takes 1 through 20. Let's do it again." And because even Ruffalo was like, but take 15 was my best take. Don't delete that.
It's too bad.
But Fincher's like, no, too bad. It's not perfect.
Yeah,
We'll do it
exactly.
again.
That's what Fincher wants, and that's why we have the greatest true crime film or crime film of all time, which is Zodiac. So,
Yeah.
personal.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. That's Fincher. Okay. Anyway,
Right.
so yeah.
Distracted.
Again, we've said it multiple times, and I want to drive this point home of
It's too
Robert
late.
and
You've already done.
Val. I don't care.
Okay.
They're just so great together. And you know what's so great is that even when they're not in a scene together, they're fantastic. Like, like I love the scene in which Harry is finally going to finally have the opportunity to sleep with Harmony, because
Yeah.
as we heard that they were friends in high school. He was her confidant while she slept with every guy in school but him. And I love that we sort of get Chekhov's gun with the whole, well, she did make one exception. She wouldn't sleep with me, but she wouldn't sleep with my best friend, Chuck Chutney. And that comes back around where
Yeah.
she confides in him that she did sleep with Chuck Chutney, and he throws her out.
Yeah.
He can't let it go. And but I love that when she's trying to still solve the case, she was like, oh, you know, was the Veronica girl, was she raped? And he was like, no, Perry said there were no signs of rape. You slept with Chuck Chutney. And he hangs up the phone. Like,
Well, it's almost like our
so
Talladega
good.
Nights episode where it's like when Cal's calling him on the phone, he goes, "Wait, man, I'm mad at you." You know, it's like he forgot for a
Don't
second.
you know I hate you? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this movie is so good. Now, there's something we haven't talked about enough, which is this is a Christmas movie.
This is a Christmas movie. It takes place around Christmas time.
Well, and how I had to tell Ashley is it starts with Robert Downey Jr. Stealing a present for his niece, from a toy store. And then, of course, you know, Harmony works as sort of like a host waitress at, I guess, for like parties, and she's in a sexy Santa costume.
Yeah.
And you know, Perry says Merry Christmas at one point to I think to Harry and Harmony. So I mean,
this is
a Christmas movie.
This is a Shane Black thing, right? Lethal
Mhm.
Weapon, Iron Man 3, The Nice Guys. Some of that takes place during Christmas as well.
Does it?
Yeah. There's probably more examples. Give me just a second. With Mr. Shane Black. Predator, classic. No, I'm just kidding. Classic Christmas movie. I'll have to do some fact checking about the Long Kiss Goodnight. Okay, fun fact about Long Kiss Goodnight. So, I'm sure I've talked about it here before, but so Shane Black wrote Long Kiss Goodnight. Have I seen it? No, and there's a good reason for this. It's because I hate Gina Davis. I'm just kidding. It's no,
I was about to say.
I'm just kidding. But my dad, years and years ago, was talking about The Long Kiss Goodnight, and he loves that movie, and he wanted me to watch it. And as a joke, I said no. And he goes, "No, you have to see it." And he got, he was like pretty at me, "You gotta see it, it's really good." I go, "I'm not gonna do it." And so since then, I just haven't watched it. And so every once in a while, either I'll bring it up or he'll bring it up. I'll usually bring it up as like, man, like, it's a great, who's a great actor, Samuel L. Jackson. I heard like there's this movie he was in with Gina Davis is pretty good, but I'll never see it. And Dad's like, "It's really good. You should really watch it." I go, No. Um,
So what you're saying is it's like the Fifth Element with your mother-in-law.
yes. Yes.
Well, and as I've told you with that situation, for your dad, you should just watch it and then just gaslight him. Just be like I don't know what you're talking about, and then directly quote the movie.
Just
And he's like,
reference
so
it
you
every.
have seen it?
Oh, well, he's
Yeah,
like you got a creep.
it's like the
Creep.
okay. That's a TLC reference. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no.
Or it's like an SNL skit with Charlie Day when they film in
Yes.
Seinfeld's apartment and
Yes.
he doesn't know what Seinfeld is,
Right.
and he's
He
like,
doesn't know what to
"Is
tell
there
me.
a character that come in? Is there a character that comes in the door that's like this?" I'm like, yes, that's Kramer. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't know that. I don't know what Seinfeld is. It's like I don't
Uh,
own a television.
but anyway, I thought you were being kind of genuine for a second when you said you didn't like Gina Davis. I was about
No,
to be
I
like,
love.
well, friendship over.
No,
Yeah.
I love Gina Davis. I think she's
And I was about to
wonderful. She's
say
amazing.
and we did Beetlejuice.
I've seen that countless times. I've seen, of course, A League of Their Own, which I love.
Oh, dude,
Yeah, I know.
for sure. We gotta do a future episode on
Okay.
League of Their Own.
You don't gotta tell me twice. League of Their Own. The movie's awesome.
Okay. Anyway,
Sorry.
so yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a Christmas movie. That is one of Shane Black's favorite tropes. And honestly, this is one of those things where you don't forget that it is Christmas.
Mhm.
Like there are movies that use Christmas as a setting, mainly just to set the scene of the
Mhm.
film, and you kind of forget that it's it's supposed to be Christmas time.
Sure.
To be honest, Iron Man 3 is one of those for me.
Yeah.
I constantly forget that I remember that it's set during Christmas, but I forget like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be happening during Christmas.
Yeah.
But with this one, I never forget that. I know like, oh yeah, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
Or at least it's like, I think it's like the 4 days leading up to Christmas, because this happens over 4 days. I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
But yeah, I Ashley and I argued with if this was a Christmas movie. And I'm like, no, it's a Christmas movie.
It is.
Like,
I completely agree. I don't think there should be any debate about that because it is a Christmas movie. I think when people say Christmas movie, I think Christmas is heavily used in the plot, right? For instance, I think a classic example of this is Jonathan Taylor Thomas's "I'll Be Home for Christmas." Classic. Where
dude.
Christmas is heavily involved in the plot.
Yeah.
No, or like Home Alone or something, but or How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but
yeah.
or Die Hard.
Christmas with the Cranks.
Right.
But yeah, but I think I think a lot of people forget that there is this version of a Christmas film where Christmas doesn't have to be the central plot,
I agree.
Which technically Home Alone is technically kind of falls into that category. Yes, it is happening Christmas. The film ends on Christmas Day, but
yeah,
I watched someone's analysis where you could take Christmas out of this equation and the film would still work.
Right. Yeah, I think maybe that's where people sort of get hung up. Like, if you take Christmas out of it, it doesn't make sense anymore. And where with some of these other ones, like your non-traditional Christmas movies, which we could talk about that for a little bit, which is probably more compelling than what we've been doing, is I think people just get tired of Christmas movies, maybe, It's sort of like if you listen to Christmas music for too long, and for me, that's not very long. But it's like you need something.
I don't start.
You need something else, right? You want to still remain in sort of this Christmas spirit and this holiday and sort of have it themed, but you want variety. You want something else, right? And so this idea
Right.
of the non-traditional Christmas movie is just people wanting a little bit more variety in their Christmas. Like a great example of a very popular non-traditional Christmas movie would be like The Ref with Dennis Leary and Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, I for instance, mine is not really. It's not a non-traditional Christmas movie. Christmas is heavily involved in this one. It's even in the title. But a movie people forget about is Surviving Christmas with Ben Affleck, James Gandolfini, and
Mm-hmm.
Catherine O'Hara. People forget about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I love Surviving Christmas.
Yeah. And if you took Christmas out of that,
Makes zero sense.
that movie would still work well.
I disagree because he's buying a family for the holiday, right? So
That's true.
you
Yeah.
could replace it with a
As
different
a way of
holiday,
therapy.
right? That
Yeah.
movie's awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Um yeah, yeah. I can't think of anyone's, but I I do love this idea of a non-traditional Christmas movie,
Mhm.
Um
Well,
a
and
good
it even goes beyond sort of just films that take place around Christmas, but Christmas isn't heavily involved. You even have your Christmas genre pictures, like Black
Mhm.
Christmas, like Krampus,
Yeah.
right? Now with
Yeah.
Violent Night, you have an action um, Christmas
Oh
film,
yeah.
right?
Well, and let's not forget Silent Night, Deadly Night, one of
Right?
the most controversial horror Christmas movies. Um, because that one really heavily leaned into that this happens on Christmas.
Well, of
And I
course.
think that's why it was the most controversial. Um, but
Okay, you
yeah,
ready for?
I
You want a list? I have a list of non-traditional
sure.
Christmas movies. And I'll pick out of my favorites, right?
Okay.
Like I won't go through all these. We've said some of these already. Batman Returns um, is one.
That's right.
Eyes
Yep, yep,
Wide
yep.
Shut.
That's right.
Eyes Wide Shut takes place
No
during.
shit.
Yeah, it does. Oh, The Long Kiss Goodnight is on here. Uh, I'll never know. Um, L.A. Confidential. In Bruges, we could have done
Oh,
In
okay.
Bruges. Um,
Oh my god, yes.
this is a stretch, but Mean Girls. Could have done Mean Girls. That one just has
I think it's
Christmas
like the
in it.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the last half of the movie is
Then
Christmas.
with that logic, it could also be a Halloween movie. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I think people forget about this one nowadays. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't hear about it as much, but Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton. Uh, was the last time you heard someone talk about
Oh.
Bad Santa?
Yeah, that is a truth fact.
And I'll leave you with Carol is also one. Um,
Carol.
with Kate Blanchett and Rooney Mara. So
I don't think I know that one.
okay, well that's fine. Anyway, so what I'm saying is we should have done Eyes Wide Shut. Is I guess what I'm saying, and maybe next year.
Well, that was going to be on my list for the Unseen season 7.
Save it. It's a Christmas movie.
But I was like, no, not this time. Yeah, but I do enjoy, I'm glad that there is this, this topic of discussion of a non-traditional Christmas movie. And I think it's because the reason why most people are like, well, it's not a Christmas movie. And I'm going to blame Hallmark is because they have cranked out these very formulaic Christmas movies for so long.
Yeah.
That's become sort of the standard.
People love them. People find much joy. My real best friend, his name is Shep Grinnan. He was really my work husband. At Midland College, his wife Debbie loves the Hallmark Christmas movies. Right, it brings people joy.
Really?
Yes, and they watch them. Shep will sit down and watch them with her. Good for her. And then,
Yeah, I
dude,
can't
there's
do
so
that.
many of them. I don't think you could repeat yourself after a while. You know what I mean? Like it would take you forever to like, all right, we're going back to the one we started with. No, there's too many.
Well, and that's also bled into Netflix. Netflix has gotten into this sort of like formulaic Christmas movie as well.
Mm,
Um,
give me an example.
like the Christmas Prince or some bullshit like that. I don't
Good job.
fucking
You could
know.
have said anything, and I would have been like,
Um,
wow, that sounds great. Yeah, sure.
um, yeah, yeah, I don't like those. See, so like, okay, here's the reason why I'm okay with a non-traditional Christmas movie, because
Uh-huh.
Christmas movies like that are too, like I said, they're too formulaic. Um, Now there are some that are the exception, and I'm not saying Hallmark films because I refuse to watch those. I'm saying, I guess, more traditional Christmas films that are the exception. One in particular, our good friend Emily Eaton's favorite film, Elf. Um, well, that's supposed to be a joke because we know she hates Elf.
Oh, I had forgotten.
Um,
Sorry.
yeah. But I love Elf. I look forward to when December rolls around, we can watch Elf. Um, and I have a tradition with my family that Ashley and I do, that Christmas Eve night we watch A Christmas Story.
Mhm.
Like that's like, I will not watch A Christmas Story until Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Ashley's favorite Christmas movie is Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
So like,
That's a solid choice.
I'm into traditional Christmas movies, but I guess more so better traditional Christmas movies like Home Alone, like The Santa Claus, the first one,
Definitely.
maybe the second one, absolutely not the third one,
Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I mean, it's like that's top tier for me.
of course.
That's top tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they had to take a lot of that and put it into the animated version because Jim was so iconic that,
It's too
they
good.
kind of had to make that version.
Well,
Benedict Cumberbatch.
yeah, I mean, like for me, okay. So we'll wrap up here in just a second, but like, this is important. So Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Grinch, okay,
Uh-huh.
is iconic, right? I mean, that's no doubt.
Right.
You just said it, right? But I
Yeah.
think it paved the way for an even better performance, which is Mike Myers
Oh my
in
God.
The
If you,
Cat in the Hat.
I knew exactly where you were going.
Jim Carrey
Um,
walked so Mike Myers could run. You know what I'm saying? Like Mike Myers, like Cat in the Hat is. I mean, not a day goes by. Still to this day, that you hear people talking about how great that film is, and so like that just had to be said. We mentioned
uh,
Jim Carrey and the Grinch, and that's great, but I think we need to give homepage to Mike Myers and what he did with the Cat in
you
the Hat. Yeah.
well, he pretty much improvised like 95%
Oh, really? You can't
of
tell.
the movie. And then, well, apparently the only time he ever said what was on the script was at the end when the kids kick him out, and like that was the only time he was like on script. Uh the rest of the time he was not. Um
Hot take: it's not as bad as you remember it. That's all I'm gonna say.
um I disagree, but that's for a completely another episode. Um well, see, for me it's so bad you have to watch it. You have to watch it in its completion from start to finish. Um Now, okay, here's my thing. Here's my final thing to talk about, and then we're going to wrap up.
Oh,
Speaking of Jim Carrey,
sure.
Ashley and I recently rewatched, of course, his version of A Christmas Carol by Robert Zemeckis.
Ew.
But before we watched that, a few days beforehand, we had watched The Muppets Christmas Carol, and honestly, that's the most superior version.
Of course it is.
Michael Caine taking that movie as serious as a car accident.
Michael Caine's like, I'm getting an Oscar for this.
Makes that. Yeah. I need to send you this meme. I'll send it to you off mic. But it pretty much sums up why that movie's really good. But it's fantastic.
No explanation needed.
One of my favorite scenes. Yeah, one of my favorite scenes. Now keep in mind also, this was a first watch for me. I had not seen this movie at all growing up. And one night, Ashley was like, I want to watch a Christmas movie. And I just happened to already be on Disney Plus. I was like, well, let's see what we got. And she was like, oh, let's watch a Muppet Christmas Carol. I was like, all right, sure.
Hell yeah.
And it was awesome. My favorite scene is when Gonzo, playing Charles Dickens, grabs Rizzo the Rat, who's playing himself, and cleans Ebenezer's window with him. And Rizzo goes, thank you for making me a part of this. And it's just Ashley played that for her students, and of course Ashley laughed hard.
Yeah.
And her 5-year-olds were like, I don't get it.
Well, I love that you the way you described it is like Rizzo playing himself.
Well, because that's what it says. It says Rizzo the Rat as himself.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What movie are we talking about? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That's right.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a Christmas movie, and it's awesome. Everyone should go watch it.
Definitely.
Watch a pre-Iron Man Robert Downey Jr. right before he popped off.
Yeah.
Just crushing it at the top of his game.
Yeah, definitely.
With Val Kilmer, Michelle Monaghan, Monahue, whatever.
Jesus.
And Corbin Benson.
Yeah. You nailed it.
Yeah. Well, I meant to say this at the top of the show, but if you've listened this far, I just want to say thank you for listening. Merry Christmas, because we know you're taking time out of your Christmas day, to listen to us.
There's no way people are listening to this on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day.
No
Yeah,
way.
there's no way.
I
mean, of course, the episode will be out on Christmas Day, but yeah, there's no way. But if you did, Zach, thank you.
I don't even think Zach
We
is
appreciate you.
Yeah.
He texts you on the 26th, like, yeah, dude, I wasn't listening.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's no way. Yeah. He's like, nah, man. No. I got better things to do. We all do.
Not today.
No. I get it.
Anyway. But thank you guys for tuning in to this special Christmas episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you had a Merry Christmas. And we will see you next week for a regular episode.
Whatever we're talking about then.